Hello, engineers, and welcome to our channel. Today, we are going to start the DevSecOps series, in which we are going to learn and discuss about the concepts, methodologies, and the tools that are being widely used, adopted, and implemented in the IT industry. I am Manthan, currently working as a senior DevSecOps engineer, and the reason that I'm starting this series is that I have been conducting interviews from past few months for the position of DevSecOps engineer in our organization, and I found out that a lot of people who are from the background of DevOps or either cybersecurity lack the basic understanding of the concepts that are being used or the basic terminologies that drive the DevSecOps initiative. So today, what we'll be discussing is that the few topics that are really important for you to know before you go into an interview for DevSecOps position. And after learning these topics, I hope that you guys will be well aware about why certain things are done in certain way. Okay, in which phase, what you should be applying. Okay, what methodology or what kind of tool are used for, uh, this particular security best practice in that particular methodology. So this is what we are going to discuss in this series. So I'll be sharing with you today a list of topics that we are going to learn, and you can do one thing is that you research about these particular topics and note them down somewhere, or you can also download this particular slide from my GitHub channel, and you can start researching and learning about it before you go into the interview. So let's see what are the different topics that are there. So here is what we'll be learning about some things which we can see here is the security fundamentals. What are the different concepts, like what is a vulnerability? Okay, not a concept, just a general meaning of the term vulnerability. What is exploit? Okay, what is a threat actor? Okay, what are different controls that you can adopt? So these security fundamentals stuff is what we will be learning in this topic. Then there will be an introduction to DevSecOps, in which we will be discussing about what is the difference between DevOps and security, okay, and DevSecOps, that basically, and why people started to do the term, if you have heard about shift left. Okay, that is what we'll be learning as well. Then the key principles in the DevSecOps, as I mentioned, shift left and defense in depth and security before you do anything. Okay, zero trust and all these things. These are the key principles of DevSecOps practices, and we'll be looking into it as well. Then what is SDLC? I hope you might have heard about it a lot of time if you are in the software domain, which is a software development lifecycle. And in what phase of the SDLC, what kind of security is implementations we can do. Okay, so that is what we'll be learning in this particular topic. Then what is CVE, CWE, CVSS, and EPSS? I am not sure how many of you might be aware of this particular thing, but these are the really most important stuff. If you talk about, integrating any tool for your pipelines or SDLCs. So this is what is the most important thing which are being used to, mark your vulnerabilities as either high, low, or medium, or critical kind of vulnerabilities. And based on those ratings is what we kind of decide how focus you should be showing towards mitigating a vulnerability. So this is what we will be discussing in the CV, CWS, and all these particular lectures. Okay. Then comes the topic of threat modeling. What is tried? What is dread? Okay, what are the different things that you look into when we talk about threat modeling? Okay, when it should be done, before or after the product is deployed. That is what we will be also looking at. Then comes the most important topics about the SAST, DAST, SCA, IST, and the others as well. These topics, if you fail to answer this particular question, answers for this particular questions related to these topics, then the person who is interviewing you will feel that, oh, this guy is kind of struggling to answer this very simple topics, and then that is a sure shot of rejection in your interviews. So we'll be learning about what is SAST, static application security testing, Okay, what are the different tools? Where is it implemented, and what are the things included in it? Then what is DAST? What is dynamic application security testing? How is it different from SAST? And okay, when are both of these things applied in the DevSecOps life cycle? Okay, or the deployment life cycle, let's say. Then what is SCM? Sometimes people confuse this SCA with source code analysis, right? They say SCA, oh yeah, I know source code analysis, but source code analysis is pretty much the same as SAST. Okay, so SCA is software composition analysis, which is pretty of a big difference, okay, between both of these terminology, SCA, source code analysis, and software composition analysis. So this is what we'll be also getting to learn. Then what is IAST, interactive application security testing, and why is it needed even after we do SAST and DAST? Okay, so that is what we'll be learning, and what tools are being used to achieve this particular thing. Then we'll also discuss about what is MAST, mobile application security testing. As you know, the penetration of mobile application is huge, and sometimes you hear TikTok and all this stuff, different stuff. What are these applications? Are they secure or not? Okay, can they access your mobile's camera, back camera, front camera? Can they access your other photos, videos? The permissions that you get to the applications when they are being installed and all this stuff. So that is why MAST is also to be considered as major stuff in kind of security aspects. Then what is RASP? What is runtime application self protection? Is it a agent based or agent list particular kind of tool that we should be using for this runtime application self protection stuff? And what is a difference between the IAST and RASP? That is what we'll be generally speaking about. Then we'll learn about secret detection. So basically, in today's world, in development, you might have heard about using a token instead of user ID and password, or use an API key, or a secret ID, secret access key. This things is what we use usually right now, to avoid usage of user ID and password all throughout the development works. So sometimes what happens is that a developer might commit the secret key in his GitHub or GitLab repository, and then it would be exposed to the outer world. And someone might use that particular secret key and use your cloud resources to do some kind of stuff, spin up some crypto mining EC2 instances, and you will get a huge bill out of it. Or if the key is an API key for decrypting a database, and they get the hold of database and the data in it as such. So that is really threat for your works and your infrastructure as well, and the data that is of utmost importance right now. So that is why secret detection is important in your repositories, and how you manage them and how do you use them if you want to consume it. So that is what we'll be learning in this particular topic. Then we'll be learning about what is IAC, infrastructure as code security, and configuration management tool security. Okay, so today, not everyone works on the console, right? You guys are, I mean, the DevOps guys are heavily adopting the IAC principles and configuration management tools to, ease out their infrastructure deployment time and automate that particular thing. So this is where there could be some misconfiguration wherein you would, keep an SSH port open to the internet, and someone could, really SSH into your instances. So that is not what you want. So that is why IAC and configuration management tool security is important. And what tools are being used to, analyze your IAC code and the playbooks that you write. This is what we'll be learning. Then the APIs are the major stuff that all of the development community are using these days to create their applications. So securing those stuff, the request and the response that are being continuously moving around the networks. Someone could, hijack them and take out any information from them. So securing your APIs is one of the most important thing that we need to take into consideration. That is why this topic of API security is for of importance to us as well. Then the CI/CD security, you trigger some pipelines and it deploys some application, or there are some people who kind of make merge request to your application, to your main branches. And if suppose I am their external threat for you, and you do not have CI/CD security implemented, what I can do is I can either steal the code base that you have, or I can, push some malicious code or malicious scripts in your application, and then that could be used to exploit or get any particular data from out of your application. So that's why CI/CD security is really of more importance today as it was before. So this is what we'll be learning. Then now, as we are moving towards microservices architecture, when we talk about distributed infrastructure these days, we are particularly adopting something called as Docker. And for that, what we do is we build the Docker images, and then once they run, they become container. Okay, the containerized application stuff. So that is why we'll be learning about how to secure your images that you are kind of creating, the Docker files that you write those images. And then what when the images are particularly started and they run as a container, then what things are vulnerable in that particular container. That is what we there are different tools to do or use for this particular two different things. Okay, so this is what we'll be also learning about. Then what is SBOM, software bill of material? This is a huge topic which is majorly related to the compliance, and also listing out of your the pieces that you use, either third party tools or internal tools that are being used to build your software. So this is software bill of material. We will talk in depth about this thing and how to use different tools to create SBOM for your either application or the infrastructure that you are deploying your application onto. So this is majorly used for the NIST framework, compliance framework, and all these different things. Then license compliance, you might be using a lot of different third-party tools while building your applications, and you need to know if something which you are using or something that you are delivering to the customers is compliant to any kind of licensing body or regulations that are there present in the world. Okay, so this is what you will need to know as well, being a DevSecOps engineer. So just a quick reminder, these particular slides would be available for you on my GitHub repository. You can just go into the link that I have presented in the description area, and you can download it and save it. And I'll urge you to, uh, also kind of start searching or finding about these particular topics if you are kind of going into an interview for this particular position for DevSecOps. Okay. And I'll also like if you subscribe and like this particular video and share this with your friends as well. So it would be helpful for me and for your teammates as well who are kind of trying to transition in this role. Okay. The next thing is what we'll be learning about is security ID plugins. ID is the integrated development environments that you guys use, the VS Code or Visual Studios or the JetBrains that you use. Okay, Eclipse and all those different things that are available. So IDs are, I mean, if we talk about something which is called a shift left, then this is what you will need to focus majorly, because how a software development starts. Okay, it starts by designing the architecture, setting up the tech stack for your application, and then it actually starts when you start to write code using those particular technologies. So for writing code, all the development teams use the IDEs, right? So if you find out that there is some plugin that could be used to make sure that the developer knows beforehand that there are certain vulnerable code that is being written while you are kind of in development. So it particularly reduces your efforts in resolving or mitigating that particular flaws that are detected later on by using the SAST or SCA or DAS tools or IST tools. So this is where security ID plugins is very important if we consider about shift left approach. So that is what different types of tools that we'll be looking at. I mean the plugins that we can use to secure this IDs. Okay. Then we'll learn about what is penetration testing and how it helps you, in detecting the security flaws or vulnerabilities in your applications. So who can do penetration testing, how to take the approvals from the people that you have in your organization or the management team, and what are the different methodologies that the pen testing kind of adopts. That is what we'll be also kind of looking as a just a general concept. We do not need to go in too much depth for pen testing because that is a separate domain itself. So this is just a general overview because you need to know the difference between a DevSecOps engineer and a penetration tester. Okay, that is the reason that I am putting this particular topic. Then what we'll be learning about is CSPM and ASPM, which is security posture management for cloud and applications. Okay, so the majorly you guys, all the DevOps guys, I think 90% of them you will be working on any kind of cloud, right? Either it be AWS, Azure, GCP, or any other stuff. So when we talk about security posture management, we'll be learning about whatever the infrastructure or the deployments you are doing on the cloud environments, how safe they are, or how vulnerable they are. That is what basically security posture management means. Okay, the same for the application that you are kind of in development. Okay, we'll be learning about both of these topics side by side and know how to measure them, how to map them, how to publish certain reports, and how to pitch this to your security team or development team in order to reduce this or make your overall security posture as a healthy posture for your organization. Because the if the posture is bad, it means that your organization or the applications that you are using or developing are under threat. Some intelligent threat actor or a hacker can easily penetrate through your systems. So that is why security posture management is important, either it be application or cloud. Then comes the security logging and monitoring. We all know that there are monitoring tools and logging tools that we use for application related logs, but seldom do we think about logging for security purposes. So this is what things we can consider into security logging, or what type of logs, where shall they be done. Okay, network logs, either it be firewall logs, whatever. Okay, this is what we'll be learning about this security in this particular topic. Okay, then we'll be learning about some of the compliance frameworks that are available, like NIS2, okay, FedRAM, then GDPR, and there are a lot of things. Okay, so we'll be deep diving into it because compliance framework is kind of a regulatory guidelines that you need to follow if you have to serve your product as a service in some country or a region. So that is why you need to be compliant to that particular country's policies or that region's policies, so that they can provide you the license to serve or use your product to be as a service to these countries. And if you do not comply to that particular policy, then they will fine you, uh, either it be a $1 million or 10% or 1% of your annual revenue, something like that. So that is why you need to know the different compliance frameworks which are used. Okay, so then, what are the different security control frameworks? We will be also discussing this in depth in later videos. Then, what is SOAR? Security orchestration, automation, and response. This is particularly to reduce your efforts when kind of certain events happen. Okay, which can be mapped using CM, which is called a security incident and event management stuff. Okay, these two both go hand in hand. Wherein how do you manage a particular incident or event that has been occurred? Like let's say some person attacks, a hacker attacks on your application, and how do you manage this incident, okay, or how do you respond to this particular event? So both of these things are important. when we talk about the later aspect, after we have integrated all the DevSecOps tools, and then after these tools are implemented, you put in monitoring and logging, and then once your application is deployed on a particular environment, then attack would happen. And then what you would do, this is what a SOAR and CM will be looking at. Then different security policies and policy as code is what you can apply for your organization to learn about this particular thing. Sorry, not learn, but to comply if some development teams are not following certain guidelines or principles, then these security policies would come into picture, wherein it will give out the data of some non-compliant teams, and then you can send them the message or a mail that okay, you need to abide to this particular policies, or your deployment would be halted for some reasons. Okay, because if that happens, then we as an organization would get a fine or a loss of reputation, or anything could happen with us, okay, in terms of legal issues. So compliance to these security policies is as well important for the development teams. And then we'll be learning about what is the importance of cryptography in our current world, because what used to happen in HTTPS is that plain text would be transferred from here to there, and anyone, if someone is in the middle, could read that particular text, they would get to know easily what you are kind of sharing on the networks. So in order to avoid that particular thing, cryptography and encryption were invented, so that if even someone gets the hold of your messages in between, they could not be able to read these particular messages. So that is why we will be learning about different type of cryptography and encryption, and what are hashings and all these things. Okay, how they were developed, and how you can become a cryptography engineer as well. So that is a separate field. Okay. Then we'll be learning about different types of attacks that are possible on your application. Most of the people don't know what of kind of attack, what is DDoS attack, okay, what is phishing, and what is different uh, things that could be possible when you are talking in terms of cybersecurity attacks. So we'll be learning, I think, I'll be listing out top 25 to 50 types of attack that you should be aware of. And you can then, uh, rate your application based on how well it defends in stopping these attacks. Okay, and then you get to know, okay, my application is pretty much safe, or my application is vulnerable. Then how do we fix that particular thing? That is what we'll be learning. Then we'll be learning about what is OWASP. OWASP is Open Web Application Security Project, which outlines the kind of vulnerabilities that are possible in your applications. Okay, and this organization also have a very good amount of resources for you to learn about security for web applications, so to say. So that is what we'll be learning. Okay, and they do have certain tools and best practices for different kind of development programs or tech stacks as well. So we'll be learning in depth about what is OWASP, what are the top 10 vulnerabilities of it, and how to use this OWASP framework to rate your products. Then we'll be learning about security architecture and models, or models, just so to say. So in that we'll be learning about what is zero trust architecture, what is defense in depth, what is NIST cybersecurity framework, what is SAPSA, COVID, TOGAF, and this MITRE or MITRE, whatever you want to speak for it. Okay, MITRE attack framework. Okay, so there are a lot of different things for us to study in this particular security architecture model. Not just this, there are few more which I'll be including in this particular topics. Like, this is not a fixed content list, but this could be updated later on as I find you know uh, while we go through the courses, we'll be learning that okay, if I think something is important for you to discuss and to get to know, that is when I'll be updating this particular list of contents. So it is not a particularly fixed one. So I hope that list was not too exhaustive for you, and you have gone through the topics of discussion for us. And I'll pretty much appreciate if you guys share this particular list with the people you think that are kind of preparing for this interviews and all other things as well. And I believe that you will be searching out for these topics while you go to interviews. So that's it for today's discussion. In the next video, we'll be discussing about the security fundamentals and some of the basic terminologies or keywords that you should be, learning by heart. Because if you include these particular keywords in your interviews, then the panelist would think that, okay, this particular guy knows about the security fundamentals and is well aware about the terminologies that are used overall. So that's it for today. Like, share, and subscribe if you found this valuable and helpful for you. And I would like you to promote this in your college groups or your teams, let's say your organizations, and let them know that there is someone who is, creating a DevSecOps series and discussing these topics and educating people on that particular front. So I'll be appreciating that. Thank you guys, and stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel and the playlist. Put on the bell notification, whatever it is, and see you soon in some another video. So kudos for now, and bye bye.